Okay, hello. My name is Kelsey. Thank you so much for joining me for this collective reading. I wanted to I feel like this is going to be about a sticky situation, but we're going to see where it goes. So that may or may not resonate for you, but I wanted to start with that because that's really kind of the intention that I feel for this reading. We're going to be using a mix of Oracle and Tarot cards, and I'm going to be pulling cards as we go and reading the energy as we go. So take what resonates, leave what doesn't. This may or may not be your reading, but hopefully there is something in here for you. And I think as we start with this opening, we'll get some kind of overall energies to clarify kind of who this is for. So you should know in the next couple minutes whether this is your reading. Okay, so first I'm going to pull kind of just an overall energy. This is your energy in the reading. And then I'm going to pull for the energy of the situation around you. So kind of you and then your circumstances. The internal versus the external. And of course, we're not separate from what's around us, but we are separate in terms of having our own individual consciousness, is what I'm feeling called to share about this. So, Spirit, what can you tell us about this collective's energy? What is their energy? Okay, I'm getting this card. And then what about the energy of their situation, their circumstances, the energies around them? I'm feeling called to pull 2 cards. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I do think this is definitely about a sticky situation. So your energy is clean it up. And the energy around you is not for you and here and now. So there's something in your environment, in your life that you're either going to get clarity that it's not for you, or you already feel clear that it's not for you. It feels very present in your life, very like front and center. So this is not going to be hard to identify for you. This should be something that's pretty obvious. It should be kind of dropping into your consciousness right now. And your energy is that you're ready to clean it up, so to speak. You're ready to clear this out of your life. Whatever this person, situation, circumstance, maybe it's even like a like programmed belief system that you've taken on that is sort of internal, but it's not actually yours. It's not authentic to you, and you're ready to really clear this out, okay? And so we're going to go deeper into this message. I'm noticing on this card, yeah, I'm hearing stalemate. There's this chess game happening, and the fortune cookie has, I don't know if you could see it. I don't know how close this camera goes, but it's got a little like message coming out that says nope. And I'm noticing this hand below that's kind of holding it up. So, and it's like, seems like a little bit precariously, right? Like the hand holding it up seems, it's kind of delicate. Maybe this is a delicate situation. There's this like, there's also a gateway here. There's a gateway in this, and there's a gateway in this. So even though this situation, circumstance, person is not aligned for you, there's also an opportunity for some sort of transformation, some sort of breakthrough. There's a lot coming in with this particular card. So the fortune cookie kind of symbolizing luck, chance. And then this chess game that is, it hasn't, all the pieces are on either side. So I'm getting that there's a lot of separation For some of you, it could be that this is a fairly new situation or circumstance. I'm hearing the game is just beginning, but you already know that it's not for you. And so you're ready to disengage, but maybe you're not sure how. And so hopefully this reading will give you some guidance on the how. And then this person's little message on this flag says, "You are here," which is like, you know, on a map or a directory where it shows like where you are. It's really important to know where you are in this moment. To be grounded in who you are is what I'm hearing. I think if this is your reading, you know who you are. You know your values, you know your desires, what you want out of life. It might not be 100% clear. There might be things that you're still working out for yourself, but compared to whatever is in your life that's not for you, you have a lot more clarity and you're a lot more centered and grounded in truth than this other person, circumstance, situation around you. Okay, so that is that's a powerful place to be. With these signs here, past, future, definitely it's important to stay present, to stay grounded in the here and now. There may be things from the past and even from the future, like your future visions, what you want for yourself, that are kind of informing or guiding your feelings or even your decisions regarding this. But it's important, and those can be valuable, right? Especially if you're in a circumstance that feels similar to something you've experienced in the past, where maybe you feel like you learned some lessons and you know, I'm hearing like you're either not interested in repeating that cycle, or you gained skills in the past that are helping you in the here and now to guide you towards an intentional future. And again, with the energy of clean it up, I really feel like you're ready to release. And there's a lot of power, I would just want to say, for someone, or maybe for most of you, there's a lot of power in taking ownership over your space. Like, whatever is in your life that's not aligned, even if it's very close to you, even if it's something that's at home, you know, there's still ways that you should be able to, like, clean up your space, organize your space. I'm hearing clean your floors, which is something I just recently did, and that can really help, like, clear the energy. It sets an energetic intention for forward motion is what I'm hearing. I'm seeing like the 8 of Wands in my head, of like, if you want the energy to start picking up around you, if things have felt stagnant and you're trying to maybe like create a new result, or, you know, remove this person, situation, or circumstance from your life, and you're doing it from a more like mental place or even an energetic or spiritual place, or you're trying to like plan or, you know, decide how you're going to handle the situation, there's some guidance here with just focusing on what is yours to own, what is yours to clean, what is yours to take care of, and making sure that you're taking care of that. I think sometimes, especially spiritual people, forget that we are physical beings for a reason, and everything is related. And so when we do literal clearing work in our physical space, it can also help energetically clear on a upper dimensional level is what I'm hearing. Okay. Conclusions are within reach. Full moon eclipse. Communication is key. New moon in Gemini, which we just had a new moon in Gemini. Prosperity lies ahead. New moon in Taurus. Okay, I mean, that all seems pretty clear to me. So conclusions are within your reach. Conclusion and communication and Gemini are all giving me like mental energy. So again, I feel like this is kind of just reinforcing that message of like, you know, if you do need to clean your physical space, that might be the gateway to mental clarity. And then you'll know your conclusion about the situation. You'll be able to communicate whatever is necessary. And this can also be like communication with yourself or with your spiritual guides. If you feel any sort of uncertainty, it can be helpful to take some time to listen for guidance. Maybe this message for you is a way of like your guides communicating a message for you that's going to clarify and help you make a conclusion about what you want to do. And then prosperity lies ahead. So I feel like once you're able to manage the situation and remove it from your life, there is prosperity coming in for you. I really want to look up when the next new moon in Taurus is, but I think it's like, I think if we just had the new moon in Gemini, then the previous month it would have been new moon in Taurus, and so there's almost a year from now that it'll be another new moon in Taurus, so you might have a little bit of time. I would say this message, this reading, for some of you, it could be in the next month that this all resolves. For other people, it's going to be 11 months. So between 1 and 11 months is what I'm getting in terms of timing. Now take that with a grain of salt, because timing is something that is constantly fluid and changing. It's constantly being influenced by our choices, and so timing is not the easiest thing to read with cards or intuitively. Some people may be very gifted at it, but you know, I always just, take it with a grain of salt. I'm not sure when the next full moon eclipse will be, but that could also be a significant time for you. I'm noticing on this card with the Gemini twins, one person with their eyes open and one person with their eyes closed. If you are dealing with a person, it could feel like you are seeing things clearly while the other person is maybe choosing not to see, or not able to see, or not willing to see things. They kind of have their, I'm like getting the image of, you know, having your head in the sand, your eyes shut. Knight of Swords, the Wheel, the Chariot, and the Fool. So we got quite a bit of major arcana energy coming through. The Knight of Swords being very fast moving, and the Chariot, and the Wheel, and the Fool. This is definitely a cycle that's closing. This could be a larger karmic cycle for some of you. This could be like whatever person, situation, or circumstance you're dealing with might feel like it has some energetic remnants of past situations that are karmic in nature, where you are really closing out a larger cycle through like this final ending. I do think like the energy is in your favor in terms of movement. Like you're able to kind of take the reins, I'm getting with the Chariot, like take the reins and move things forward. You're able to be decisive. You're able to use your mental clarity, to use your physical body, even to like I was saying about physically cleaning your space or energetically cleaning your own self. Like maybe you've been listening to or doing your own form of energy clearing. I know on my channel there's some, this is gonna be one of the newer videos from my time of like restarting with YouTube, but there is an energetic clearing on my channel if you want to go check that out. It's already up. That might serve some people. And there's a new beginning coming in. The Fool energy to me is feeling, I feel like there's a little bit of hesitancy, to be honest. Again, like, if this is a karmic thing for you, there could have been times where you took a leap of faith and maybe felt like it didn't work out so well. So you might be a little gun shy to doing this again. I'm even getting like to take the actions that you need to take, that you know you need to take, because you're afraid of like coming to that precipice, coming to that point of no return, and really like letting yourself fall and trusting. But I feel that that's really going to serve you if you can lean into trust and just kind of decide. I feel that if anyone's dealing with blocks to abundance, I got the Six of Pentacles and the Knight of Pentacles both in reverse, and you can see how similar these cards are in terms of the pentacles on there. And I'm seeing the relationship with this card. This is tied to your abundance. This is tied to your manifestations. Whatever this person's circumstance or situation is, whether you like it or not, whether you want to believe it or not, it is tying up your energy, and it's making it harder to manifest what is yours. And I feel like whatever situation, circumstance, or person this is regarding that's not aligned for you, it's been really out of balance. There's not been an equal give and take. And you know that, and maybe you've known that for some time. But now it's like you're at the place of being willing to do something about it. You're really willing to close out this cycle fully now, fully and completely with the world. So I want to look at what you can expect for the future. Actually, before that, I want to look at any other guidance you need to get this clarity, to make this decision, or what action steps you need to take to clear this. Two of Swords in reverse. The Hermit. There's one more card that's going to come and clarify that message. It might be from another deck if I don't get one in the next couple shuffles here. We'll see. Okay. Let me get one of these. Regeneration. Two of Swords reversed in the Hermit. There might be some need to take some time to kind of retreat into your own space. You might have been in a period of isolation, and you might feel a little bit like, you know, you're regenerating yourself. It's not quite time to move out of that yet. It will be soon. I don't feel like this is going to take forever. Well, I guess between 1 and 11 months for some people. So there might be a little bit more unwinding that's needed to be done. But ultimately, the decision, it's yours to make. I mean, the Two of Swords is about like indecision. In reverse, I feel like maybe you've already decided. That could be for some people. Or the only thing stopping you from making a decision is you. Like you being willing to just decide. But some of you have already made a decision. You're just maybe kind of a little bit waiting it out. I do feel like you're looking towards a positive future. You can see a little bit of like what's to come. And let's look a little bit more at what's to come when you do clear this person, situation, or circumstance out of your life. Let's see what you can expect. Yeah, releasing a heavy burden. With the Ten of Wands reversed, you're going to feel like a weight's lifted off your shoulders for sure. You might get new creative ideas, new inspiration. I'm hearing a return of your childlike sense of wonder. And I also heard wisdom, like childlike wisdom. Because in a way, when you think about like children and their innocence, and I know some of you in this collective, if you're listening to my reading, you probably some of you, some of you may have had adverse childhood, so this is not talking about any adverse experiences. This is talking about the purity of like the child within for me, I always think about like every time I was as a child, like I was out in nature, just in the garden or with animals, like that's when I can really tap into my own sense of childlike wonder. So the dogs were just barking, and I think it was the mailman walking by. And so there could be a message from your inner child that you need to receive. There's a remembrance. This is kind of like the Page of Cups. I feel like there's like this, there's this like person, maybe it's an aspect of himself that's floating above. It could be like your child essence is connected with your higher self, or it could be an invitation to, kind of see from a higher vantage point, whether that means like being able to zoom out of your situation a little bit, or to like zoom out of your life and see like your whole life story and how this person, circumstance, or situation fits into that greater narrative. I always notice on this card the little flying pig, and it's like that, expression, when pigs fly. There's some feeling of like the impossible becoming possible. And then with the Page of Pentacles, I'm hearing rooted remembrance. I feel there is something, because I was talking about my own experience in childhood of like being in nature and how this person's surrounded by nature, and the message from the book about this card, it talks, it's kind of hard to see, but it talks about this root that's kind of wrapped around her, and it's going into the ground, and she's balancing on it. So yeah, there is like a rooted remembrance that has to do with your inner child. I'm hearing your inner child being seen. I'm also hearing, what did you love to do as a child that you maybe can bring into your life more now? And as children, we believe in things that are fantastical. For example, some of us were led to believe in Santa Claus, and that is kind of a mythical being that we grow older, and oftentimes we lose that. I'm hearing that blind faith, and that can feel like maturing. But most kids have kind of, maybe not most kids, but I think there's, when you are led to believe in Santa Claus, and then you realize that Santa Claus is just your parents leaving gifts under the tree, and this is for, obviously this doesn't apply to everyone, but if you do resonate with this, if you, did grow up celebrating Christmas or whatever, and you did grow up being told about Santa Claus, and then, at a certain age, you kind of just, either you're told that it's no longer real, or you realize it's no longer real, or your, peers tell you, and then, I mean, some of us have kind of this moment of loss of innocence. And, ultimately, like, the Santa Claus myth is a lie. It's a thought form that we've fed into, and I could go down a rabbit hole on this. I'm kind of listening to how far Spirit wants me to go and sharing about this, but, it's the myth of Santa in our current society is highly related to capitalism, which is related to extraction, and there is a lot to do with, I feel that humanity, the shadow of humanity that is disconnected from the innocence of childhood and from nature and the land, is I feel that there's this unconscious extraction of children that happens. And this is getting a little bit dark, but there are literal interpretations of this. And this, such as like trafficking or abuse. And this is not to scare anyone. There might be people listening to this message potentially that have had, adverse childhood experiences. Maybe where your innocence was taken. Maybe there's something about this circumstance, person, or situation that's reminding you of that. What I'm hearing, though, is that what is yours, what is divinely yours, can never truly be taken away. And it's your responsibility to reclaim any parts of yourself that you've abandoned, rejected, or separated yourself from in any way that was a result of, harm done to you or, pain that others caused. It's like when we're children, we're so innocent and we are dependent on the adults around us to care for us. And we aren't able to create our own safety. And so when you have caretakers or adversity that happens that doesn't hold your best interest and ultimately does cause harm, then you carry that patterning into adulthood. And whatever aspects of self that you've been removed from, whether it's like your child innocence or your ability to dream and imagine for yourself, or to believe in miracles like pigs flying, or to connect deeply with nature, land, like the natural world and the spirits that live in the natural world, because ultimately we are nature. Like, we are not separate from the land. We are not separate from nature. And I feel, at least in my experience as children, I feel like we have this innate sense of that. And then we, grow up and maybe we aren't supported emotionally, maybe physically, maybe mentally. And then we start developing like coping mechanisms to deal with whatever pain is occurring in us because we're not being fully met or fully seen for who we are and what our gifts are and what our magic is. And or our magic is intentionally or subconsciously being siphoned. This can happen in like with narcissistic parents, who end up kind of corrupting the innocence of their children, but also want to kind of draw on that energy. So take this how it resonates. Your life story, your situation, but there is a reclamation of childhood here. There's a regeneration. Okay, let's see what else. I feel like this reading is kind of coming to a close. I hope that these messages support you. Please. No, I'm not being called to say that. Okay. Yin. So the Yin card, this is the feminine, divine feminine. I feel like similarly to our... Yeah, okay, there's like this trifecta. Children, land, nature, like land, nature, spirit, like Mother Earth, like Earth, and feminine, that are all related in that they hold keys for our collective awakening, is what I'm hearing. And they are the things that have been subjugated the most in our recent history of humanity. And so whether you resonate more with, reclaiming your childhood innocence or your childlike sense of wonder or your ability to imagine, or if you resonate more with like the divine feminine within and reclaiming that and your kind of intuitive gifts or your sensitivity, your emotional sensitivity, your empathic sensitivity, or if you relate more to nature and, you know, kind of the caretaking or the stewardship or the connection with the spirits, the slowness of nature, the kind of intentionality. Something I've really been thinking about lately that I just feel like is so, it's profound but obvious, is like, you know, a tree doesn't try to do anything other than be itself. It just is a tree. And same with any other part of nature. A squirrel just is a squirrel. A pigeon is a pigeon. A crow is a crow. A dog is a dog. Even though dogs are domesticated, that's a little bit different. But still, we are the only ones, people are the only ones that try to be things that we're not. And it's because we have this level of consciousness and this sensitivity, really. You know, all beings are sensitive, but it's the consciousness of us that's able to be kind of manipulated, programmed, or misconstrued in a way that takes us off course. This card says time to go. I feel like this kind of is reminding us of the original message about whatever situation, person, or circumstance you're leaving behind. But what I'm really seeing in this card is like this pathway. And again, moving towards a gate. And it's like, there's nowhere else to go on this path. There's only one direction. It's your authenticity. 4 or 5, 45 is a 9. So completion. Not all of these cards from this deck, this is the Wisdom of the Oracle deck, but a lot of them have these flags at the top, which I always think is kind of like, it's like a finish line. It's giving like crossing the finish line. Fork in the road, number 13, the number of divine feminine. There's an owl, an alpaca, and a lemur or something, but the lemur has like a weird face. And yeah, this has, so a fork in the road, there's all these options, there's also these directions. There's one that's pointing kind of straight ahead. There's this. So I think maybe there's kind of two energies here, two collectives. There's some of you that are already clear on your path. You already know who you are. You've done the work to kind of reclaim your childhood innocence and your feminine nature, your sensitivity, and you feel like you know your direction. Or maybe some of you are still feeling unclear about your direction, or you're feeling like you have to choose path A or path B. You're at a fork in the road and you have to make a choice. And there is a choice that needs to be made. But again, I feel that you are getting the clarity that you need to make that choice. And maybe this is just a message that, like, even when you feel unclear, truly there's only one way to go. There's only one path in front of you. It can feel like there's all these different choices, all these different, yeah, I'm hearing like all roads lead to the same destination. It's kind of that energy of like, no matter what you choose. Yeah, okay, what I'm getting is your choices do nothing more than decide the timeline of things. But you're such a strong spirit, you're such a strong soul that, and your guides are here. I'm really feeling like you have a strong spirit guide team that's leading you exactly where you need to go. So there's actually nothing to worry about. There's nothing really even to figure out, strangely enough. Yeah, okay. Bottom of the deck, I just felt called to see is look at the bigger picture, which is kind of what I already was saying about you might need to zoom out of your life. There might be an opportunity for reflection here. If you zoom out of your life, maybe there's some journaling that can happen where you write down your story, maybe some like major life events or events or choices that felt like a real turning point for you, or they feel very significant, and see like, see if you can recall what you felt before that choice was made and what happened after and how it ultimately ended up for you. And maybe there's some wisdom in that reflection that will help you. I feel like what you need right now is just confidence. Because, because you've had tower moments before. You've had, I'm hearing, okay. Hold on. Yeah, okay. Nope, just like that card. Yeah, okay, wow, interesting. I feel like this one too. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so what I got the tower. If you're not that familiar with tower, this is kind of, like a moment of sudden upheaval, sudden collapse. It's lightning. But what I heard in my head was, you've been burned at the stake before. So this is getting a little deep, but some of you may have been witches, which were just women, in past lives. You may have had past lives of being literally burned at the stake. I'm sure that I have. And when you hold this deep wisdom, it's not just childhood, right? Our childhood is like, okay, take this as it resonates, but I'm feeling called to say our childhood is not actually the beginning. We've lived lives before, and those lives carry energetic imprints on our soul, on our record, actually, in our Akashic record. And I actually offer Akashic record readings and clearings in addition to reading tarot and oracle. If you want any sort of deep level reading, clearing of past lives or even present life patterns that you feel like are holding you back, that is something that I offer. So you can reach out to me about that. There's information down below about how to do so. But yeah, I'm hearing that, some of us have been burned at the stake, and we carry these karmic imprints of fear of what might happen when we stand in our power, what might happen when we stand in our light. I feel that whoever's listening to this message, you know that you're powerful, you know that you have a bright light inside of you, but because the sun came out in reverse, I feel like there's still a part of you that's kind of keeping that covered, because you're afraid that if the world were to really see you shine as bright as you can, that something, like another tower moment will happen. But even if a tower moment happens, you know how to regenerate yourself. You know how to go within. You know how to find find the innocence, find the wisdom, find the insight I'm hearing. You know how to move through a conflict. You're not afraid of letting go. And you have the foresight and mental clarity to move through any sort of situation. You're a powerful creator. And you're extremely insightful. And you receive downloads without even realizing that these are spiritual downloads, is what I'm getting. Okay, let's see if there's any last messages. I feel like there's something that wants to complete with this reading, but I think it might just be your choice, your action. Yeah, interesting. Okay. So we have a lot of pentacles in this reading. We have a little bit of wands. We have a little bit of swords. A lot of pentacles. The cups is this. This is the only cups, the only emotional. And I talked a lot about this card. But I don't feel that this is the situation to get overly emotional about. If you are feeling overly emotional, and I shouldn't even say overly emotional, if you're feeling very emotional, then definitely take some time to ground and root. This could be as simple as literally sitting outside, sit on the grass, sit under a tree, breathe, and just imagine yourself being part of it all. You are part of it all. And that can be a great way to ground. Or imagine your roots, like from your spine. Imagine that your spine is a root, like a trunk of a tree, and then it continues all the way down past your tailbone as you're sitting, and it goes all the way down into the earth. And you can even imagine it going all the way down into the center of the earth and wrapping around the core of the earth. And so you feel like you have this tether. So you can't like accidentally lift off, right? As you're bringing back these aspects of self that have been hidden, is what I'm hearing. That maybe you knew in your childhood or were taken in your childhood, were covered in your childhood, or covered in past lives, where you maybe had some traumatic situations happen. I'm hearing remember it all. Adjustments are required, and have faith in your dreams. And one more from this deck. So this might be, I'm feeling like this might be a message. If you're here, obviously you've been watching this for however long this reading has been. I'm assuming you're resonating. And like with this, adjustments are required again. Like it's like, I feel like there's something that we're still harping on. There's something. Have faith in your dreams. Right? This is again, this is so like Page of Cups to me. But it's like there's still something that's trying to unwind. And so if that's you, consider subscribing, because I feel that we're going to be having more messages about this energy. This energy, this reading, I won't go into my own story, experience, or details, but I'll give you kind of a just general gist. Is like, you'll see if you go to my channel that there's some older videos. I'm coming back around in my life to my own authentic energy after kind of a cycle of going away. And that might be like a timeline that others resonate with. And I would say over the last week or two, I have never felt better in terms of feeling aligned with my own energy. And this reading was in part inspired by my own person, situation, or circumstance that I'm ready to let go of, and that I feel that I'm receiving all this clarity, but it's like there's still actions that need to happen. There's still time that needs to pass to like work it all out. Adjustments are needed. So all to say, like, I'm going to be very inspired to keep reading this energy, because it's not just for you all, it's for me as well. So I hope that makes sense. Yeah, between worlds, chop wood, go the distance. Really, Spirit's encouragement is just keep going. Realize that it's as mundane as you want it to be, and it's as big and transformational as you want it to be as well. Focus on what needs to be done. Focus on your daily routines. Okay, focus on, again, like clean, the chores, whatever your responsibilities are, make sure that you're really in integrity with those, that you're really taking care of business. And that's going to be what helps you go the distance. It's almost like this natural regeneration that we get to cultivate through our full participation with our physical life, right? So again, sometimes when we're spiritual, we want to go up into the higher dimensions, up into higher consciousness, and just kind of create and manifest from this mental or like fifth dimensional place. And we kind of get a little bit separated from our physical life. And then when you pile any trauma or adverse childhood experiences or past life negative experiences that you might have had on top of that, sometimes it can lead us to want to separate from our physical life. But there's actually so much beauty, power, and wisdom in our physical life. This is where we create from. This is where we manifest from. We are part of the mother. We are part of the mother. We are part of earth. We are part of nature. We are here incarnated for a reason. And the more you can engage with your physical life, and some people might need to engage with like a little bit more exercise or movement. I know I've been really cultivating like going on walks multiple times a day now, and just really making sure that we're taking care of our physical vessel, that we're taking care of our physical space. And sometimes that does more to create results than anything we can like cognitively manifest, cognitively think about, or visualize. So even I'm hearing like some of you might be watching a lot of readings like this, and that's okay, but what can you be doing while you're listening? Can you be sweeping the floors while you're listening, right? I mean, these two cards with your primary energy, I just feel like was restated with chop wood. This is just about taking care of business. If you have any sort of dissociation from your physical life, from your daily routines, or resistance to what quote unquote needs to get done, that is where your transformation actually will be. Between worlds, I'm hearing that the veils are thin, and so it can be easy to really go up into the, I'm hearing the quantum, or like just go up into more higher consciousness, or just like consciousness. Like consciousness is great, but we have two hands to do things with, to create with, not just with our minds, not just with our spirit, and not just with our heart, but with our hands. Okay, so I'm going to leave the reading there. I really hope that this supported you. Please feel free to write any thoughts, reflections, feedback, questions down in the comments below. I really hope to be doing readings on a regular basis. I'm not quite ready to say how often, but at least once a week, if not multiple times a week. And so you'll definitely see me here again if you choose to follow along. And thank you so much for spending this time with me. May you know your divine strength and innocence, and that they are one and the same, and that you have clear direction forward, and that you know that nothing can stop you from living your path in the life that you are here to live, in the life that you are meant for, as long as you choose to continue on the way. Okay, sending so much love. Until next time, bye.